What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Stoppage Time podcast. It is me and Val once again talking about the wrap up of this last couple of weeks. Now, Valandi, how are you?
Good, buddy. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Now, for most of you who don't know, this podcast is based on just talking about the EPL, La Liga, talking about everything football, talking about transfer rumors, talking about the scores, upsets, basically everything you could want to know about football. So without further ado, let's get straight into it and talk about some of the upsets of this last week. So, Valandi, is there any upsets that you saw that you thought were like, wow, I actually did not see that coming?
Probably the City Southampton one. I think that was a surprise.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't end up watching that game. I saw the replay, like just a bit of the highlights, but yeah, it was actually like surprising. I thought City were actually gonna clinch that. But it was funny enough that I saw Guardiola's interview after, and you can tell that he wasn't happy with the result, but he just kept going at it in the interview, saying, "Yeah, we performed well." And then the interviewer was like, "Really? Are you happy?" He even said it. He's like, "This is the best performance we've ever played, like against this team." And the interviewer questioned him. He's like, "Really?" And then he zoomed in. He's like, "Yeah, it is." Gave him the death stare, but it was pretty funny to see. But
I mean,
look, I think that was the upset of the week for me.
I think one of the biggest upsets as well was the and you don't know this. Do you know the score for the Chelsea Brighton game? For the Brighton Chelsea game?
I actually looked it up before we actually went on, so it was 1-1.
1-1, and it's Chelsea scored first, and Brighton came back and scored in the 60th minute. That for me was probably one of the biggest upsets, because if you have a look, Chelsea are currently now third, and Brighton are ninth. So, like, you got top of the table versus mid-table, and you're drawing 1-1. I mean, it is football; anything can happen. There are certain aspects to that Chelsea game where I feel like a lot of players would have been out, like Kante and all that, because of injury. But also they have a lot of African players, I feel like, Chelsea, so they would have been resting a few of their players. So that could be a reason why. But yeah, I mean, this whole last week has been crazy. Like, it has
Not really. I think with the
crazy.
with the Chelsea Brighton game, I thought like you said before, like Chelsea had players out as well. I don't think City had many players out. That's why I'm thinking it's more of a shock, because City have quality players as well. But at the same time, Southampton is regarded probably better than Brighton, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. Like I agree with you on that one 100%. I mean, in saying that though, Southampton's only 4 points behind Brighton.
Yeah.
And to cause an upset like that against Man City, I mean, it's it's pretty surreal. Now I want to talk about our mighty Reds. First of all, let's talk about the midweek game, the Brentford Man United game.
Yeah.
That was interesting, to say the least.
It was.
I mean,
I
want to hear your take on this first, and then I'll give my opinion. But I'd love to hear what you have to say about the first half of that game.
No, I think it was an interesting game. Obviously the first half wasn't really too interesting on our behalf. I mean, obviously, like Brentford played well for the first 20, 25 minutes. But it didn't sound like it when the Brentford manager was speaking. It sounded like they dominated the whole game and they scored 5 past us. It was pretty funny to see that as well. I think we were speaking about it with George as well. Like, I think it's the saltiest manager of the season. so far.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, I think regarding that game, I think United had a better second half. Obviously, the goals came in. Very impressed with Elanga as well, a young player.
Yes. Scored. Was that his debut goal? Was that
I think
was that his
I
first
think it
goal?
was.
I think it was his first goal.
I think it was his first goal. I think.
Yeah.
No, I think he scored before. No, I can't.
No, in first
Can't
grade. I'm saying
remember.
in first grade.
Yeah, in first grade. Yeah. But look, I'm really impressed with Elanga. It's good to see the young players as well coming out. Now for United, we do have a good youth system as well, so it's good to implement those young players as well. Elanga is one of
Yeah.
them. But I was very happy. Second half, we played really well. Yeah, just wonderful assist by Ronaldo, of course. A
Yeah.
lot of critics have given him a harsh criticism over the last couple of weeks. But look, we played really well second half, so very happy and very like important points as well.
So in on top of that, I mean, the Brentford's manager turned around and said that it was unsportsmanlike to come out at halftime with new tactics. So I don't know what he's been smoking. I really want some, because if he's that delusional, then, like how can you sit there and honestly say with a straight face it's unsportsmanlike for a team that's drawing 0-0 to come out and change their tactics to win a game of football? Isn't that the whole point? Like,
That's the whole point of football.
You know what I mean?
Look, I think it caught up to him, and I think obviously United were too good at the end, and
yeah,
I think it got caught up to him, and he got very emotional behind his words and the way he was talking.
No, absolutely.
I mean, the way he started as well is like I'm so proud of my team. We dominated the game and all that, and I'm just like listening to it. I'm just like, he's a very very salty man, because he thinks he's gonna win. You can't.
No,
All right,
absolutely.
you can't win a game when you don't take your chances. They had so many chances. I give them credit. They played really well. They took they unfortunately they didn't take their chances. United, on the other hand, took their chances, and we ended up with a 3-1 scoreline. That's the difference.
So to put the stats into it as well, United had 13 shots in total, and Brentford had 18.
Yeah.
We had 5 shots on target. They had 9. So you can see how it's not just taking your chances, but it's the right chances. Because we put 3 past them. Do you know what I mean? And they put 1 past us. When they put that 1 past us, I was like, all right, fair enough. Fair enough. That was a defensive fault from us. And lo and behold, it was Harry Maguire. And it was, I didn't look. Am I upset that they scored against us? No, of course not. You know what I mean? We ended up winning the game. But those goal scorers were Elanga, you got Greenwood, who scored, and then you had Marcus Rashford scored as well, which is great. I love
three United graduates as well. So it was good to see that.
from the youth academy. So it's great to see them on the scoreboard. It's good to see them starting to get that. They've scored, and now that passion's going to start coming back.
It's that confidence now, especially with Elanga now. He even said it in the interviews. Like, he's very grateful that the boss gave him an opportunity. And it's good to see that. Elanga has been outstanding for me. Like, I think he's definitely a future starting 11. Obviously, starting now regularly.
Yeah.
I think it's his second game starting, but I'm very happy. So far, so good for United. So, look, these are the games. These are the games that you wanna see as well. You want to see United perform like this. We've been very sloppy the last couple of weeks, or I could say months. But look, honestly, I think we're getting there. We're getting there. I think we give Rangnick a bit more time to implement his style, as Ronaldo said in the interview. Just give him a bit more time, and I think we'll get back on track.
So Tom just sent us a little bit of an update. Elanga scored last game of last season, but definitely kicking on. So it wasn't his first goal. But however, to see him still come onto the scoreboard is ridiculous. I mean, it's especially such a young player as well. It's fantastic to see. Now, one thing I love about Adlanga's interview, and I don't think you noticed this, have you noticed he wasn't very robotic with his answers?
No,
He was very
you can
fluent.
tell. You can tell.
He was very fluent. He was very just spoke from the heart, not the head. You know what I mean? It was very nice to see. It was very nice to see that he hopefully doesn't turn into a robot for the media and whatnot. That'd be very lovely to see. Let's fingers crossed, huh? What are your opinions on the whole Ronaldo exit?
Look, I think it's just another spike from the media, as always. I think anything to write something in the paper. You know what I mean? I mean, Ronaldo for us he's been amazing for us. You know, he's won games for us that we needed to win. Obviously, very important games. He's scored some very important goals so far this season. I think it's just another spike from the media. Like I said, just to write stuff in the paper. But at the same time, Ronaldo needs that help in the middle to provide. You know, we sometimes, obviously, we've been, very critical of our players in the middle. But I think, just Ronaldo needs some assistance because he can't do everything himself. You know, he's 36 years old. He's done what he can. He's dominated wherever he's gone. So, I think we just need to assist him a bit more, give him a bit of more depth in the middle. And, look, I can see us winning something with him, definitely. But like I said, we just need some depth in the middle, some star players just give him a bit more firepower and get us going again.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think the biggest thing for me is that, his contract's till June 2023.
Yeah.
So that's the end of the next season. So
May or a month, a month before the end of the season.
A month before.
So May it finishes, yeah.
I'm worried that if he leaves, then it's all just going to go to shit again. And I'm only saying that because he's bringing a lot of experience to a club that's got a lot of young players.
Yeah.
So
he's brought that experience, definitely.
Yeah. So I'd love to see him stay, just to mentor the younger players like Alanga and, put them on not necessarily the track that he had, like the path that he had, but help them find a path for them to be like, right, like what path do I want to go down now? But, if he leaves, he leaves. Like, there's really nothing much we can do about that. Yeah. But, it'll be interesting to see what happens at the end of this season, even in the next couple of weeks. I mean, we've got Champions League starting back up again next month.
Yeah.
So we'll be covering all those games, and talking about those as well. So it'll be interesting to see what comes from the Champions League as well, because the Champions League will be a real defining moment to see what happens with Ronaldo as well, because he's as his nickname is, he's Mr. Champions League. So
definitely, we've got Atletico Madrid up next as well, so
which is going to be very interesting.
Very interesting, and I'm sure like a lot of people know what Ronaldo has done to Atletico Madrid over the past couple of years, but with Real and with Juventus. But yeah, look, it's gonna be an interesting game with both legs with Atletico.
Yeah, absolutely. Alrighties, now on to what were the other games we were going to talk about, Val? We were going to talk about the Tottenham Leicester City game. What a game! I watched the highlights, and I've never cheered for Tottenham in my life ever, but I cheered for Tottenham this game. That's how crazy this game was. I mean, there was so many chances. Tottenham took 27 shots and 10 on target. And they had the majority of the possession throughout the game. And you've got you got players like Harry Kane getting on the scoreboard, which is great. James Maddison for Leicester getting on the scoreboard, which is great to even it up. To go ahead. And then Stephen Bergwijn, 95th and 97th minute goals. Now, if that ain't stoppage time, then I don't know what is.
Yeah. Look, it just goes to show, even with the Conte effect now, I think he's done really well with Tottenham so far. But look, that's the whole point of the Premier League. Like the games like that as well, last minute winners, but it's really good to see that. I actually didn't watch the Leicester Tottenham game, so you probably have to give me a bit of a heads up of what happened.
Yeah. So all I'm gonna say is that it wasn't very interesting up until they started scoring goals.
Yeah.
Like there was so many chances, but it really started getting interesting until they started scoring goals. Because once they started scoring, it was like, all right, it's game on. Like it's game on. And when Leicester scored in the 70th to get up 2-1, you could see in the 90th plus minutes, Tottenham fans were leaving.
Yeah.
So Tottenham fans were leaving in like the 93rd minute.
Standard
right?
spuds.
95th minute hits and they scored. It's 2-2 and they all start rushing back. They all start rushing back to the stadium, and then 97th minute they score again.
Yeah.
So like it is ridiculous. Now personally, I don't know if it deserved to go into 97 minutes, like an extra 7 minutes. But there were a lot of opportunities in the first half. A really good defending from Leicester though. Fantastic defending from Leicester. They were not making it easy for Tottenham to score.
It's Leicester City. They don't make it easy for anyone, Leicester City. I mean, they're
and that's the thing. And that's the thing. So, it was very much, I think first goal came in the 23rd minute. And that really changed the pace. I felt like. So, like I said, it didn't get interesting until someone scored, and that was in the 23rd minute. So 23rd minute, they scored, Leicester scored, and then I believe it was a Harry Kane goal that came second, beats the defenders, and then just hits curls it, hits the bar and goes in. So it was very,
beautiful,
very Harry Kane-esque, I should say. That's just,
standard
classic Harry Kane.
Yeah.
Just standard Harry Kane. Second half comes on and it's like it was like a bloodbath. It really was a bloodbath. James Maddison scored in the 70th, like I said, and it really made Tottenham just go like all out attacking, like right D-pad.
I could imagine Conte how he was on the sidelines. I mean, that guy just goes off his nut.
Yeah, absolutely.
If they're going bad, like he's on that sideline. He passes that box and he just wants to be in the game. It's pretty funny to see.
Yeah. So I'm looking at it now. I was just looking at the highlights. It's 5 minutes. It was 5 minutes extra time, and they kicked off. Leicester comes out and loses the ball straight away, and then the rest is history. Harry Kane puts an amazing through ball in, and he beats the keeper and hits the post and goes in. It's 3-2. And I shit you not, it is probably like it's a fairy tale moment because Tottenham needed that win. And like you said, it's the Conte effect. Anyone who knows what Conte's done with every other club, you can see it now here with Tottenham. Tottenham is going to be an unstoppable force if they just keep listening to Conte. But in saying that, I'm glad Leicester didn't just hand it to them on a platter. They fought,
put up a fight,
did what they needed to do to try and secure put up a fight. Yeah, absolutely, put up a fight. Even to get the draw, draw, I mean, was still was still a massive role, like a massive job to do. But unfortunately, they couldn't get it done. Now to get off EPL for a bit, let's talk about Bundesliga. Now, there have been not really Bundesliga. I just want to talk about one player in particular, and it's the player who's been causing so much transfer rumor since Messi going to PSG. I mean, Haaland is going to personally either go to Real Madrid or Barca. He's going to one or two. That's what everyone's been saying. That's what everyone's been talking about. I want to see your opinion.
I'm thinking City, man, because it brings back to his father when he played Manchester City. Maybe his father will play a bit of a role, saying, I want to play for, like I played for City. Why don't you play for City? You know what I mean? But yeah, it's always a father effect as well when it comes to that. Even when Ronaldo was supposedly going to City, and then Sir Alex gave him a call saying, "What are you doing?" You know what I mean? But look, I think. Yeah, like you said, I think the transfer rumors have been a bit crazy with the whole Haaland situation. But look, targets have gone round. I think it's obviously Barca, Real. I think he might go to City. It's either City or Real Madrid, one or the other.
I feel like the only issue is that Barca can't afford him. Yeah. Like everyone's saying, Barca can buy him. Barca can buy him. Barca doesn't have any money. Like, this is the thing. They got almost in administration, which for people who don't know in business terms is they're going to have to sell the club. The owners are going to have to sell the club, or they're going to have to sell shares to bring money in.
Yeah.
Right? Which means that you can say goodbye to whoever owns Barca because they're going to start selling off shares like it's going out of fashion. So they can start bringing more money into the club so they can buy players. Now, Real Madrid won the Copa del Rey.
They beat Athletic Bilbao 3-2, yeah. I actually watched that game. It was actually really interesting. Bilbao are a tough team.
Tell me about it, because I missed it. I need you to tell me because I haven't even watched the highlights on it.
Yeah, no, I saw the game. I forgot a bit about it, but the score ended 3-2. But look, it's standard Real Madrid. I thought, look, to be honest, before the game, I thought Real Madrid was just going to fly past, but actually, Bilbao actually put up a fight in that game. But yeah, look, it just goes to show. I think, look, in my opinion, I think Real's going to obviously take out the La Liga this season. They've obviously taken out the Copa del Rey as well, and you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if they take out the Champions League as well. Going for a treble. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. That's what I'm putting. And even before, I think it was the first episode on in the studio what we did. When
we did our predictions for the Champions League winners.
I predicted Bayern Real in the final. So
I see. I was a bit of a hothead. I said Liverpool were going to win it. I said Liverpool will either win the Premier League or they'll win the Champions League if they don't win either. I'm changing my perspective on it all. And I'm saying it's going to either be I'm going to agree with you and go a Bayern Real final. Real's first on 49 points, and Sevilla is second. Real Betis is third. Now, when you're saying Real Betis is third, something's going on.
Maybe Tony's managing the team.
So good old Tony. And Barca's seventh. Barca isn't even contention for Europa next year.
Yeah. Next season. Look, I think obviously the performances that they've had pre-Xavi, obviously they had what's his name? The Dutch manager.
Yeah, that Dutch manager.
I forgot his name. Anyway,
I forgot his name, which obviously says something.
Koeman, I think it was Koeman. Yeah, Koeman.
Yeah.
He obviously they started going really bad with their performances. They dropped to I think it was 9th at one point. And obviously Xavi's picked them up now. Xavi's implementing his tactics in with Barcelona, his style of play, and they're bouncing back up again. You never know to the end of the season. Even when I said in the previous episodes, I'm not counting from December, January, what's going to happen. You know what I mean? I'm waiting until May, because until May, anything's possible.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. It's just interesting to see that it can take one manager to literally just turn a team around and make them not their god status per se. Because you look at Barca, it was always Barca Real. And then over the last couple of years, it's been Atletico when they had Griezmann, and then Griezmann's now gone to Barca, and now he's gone somewhere. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's now
he's gone back
just
to Atletico.
It's now he's gone back to Atletico. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just like it's amazing to see how one manager can just turn a club either really good, like you've seen with Conte and Tottenham, or really bad, like with Koeman and Barca. I'm really actually. It was funny. The one player I'm proud of in the La Liga is actually Vinicius Jr.
He's improved a lot. Yeah, he's improved a lot.
If you guys haven't seen the video of him trying to do tricks when he first got signed to Barca and like
to Real,
miserably failing, like couldn't even juggle a ball, and now he's scoring every game. So it's amazing to see what a club will do to improve their players. So, props to him, and one day if he sees this, good on his chin.
Off topic. Just for a second, off topic. I've been looking at this article. Reading this article regarding Bayern's training and the way the players train as well.
Yeah.
If you've noticed the players before signed before they to Bayern, if you look at their bodies beforehand and after, you'll see the difference. I don't know what Bayern's doing in those trainings. I don't know what they're feeding those players. But they're becoming 3 or 4 times their size. Like, it's absolutely... Like, if you see Lewandowski in Dortmund compared to him at Bayern, massive difference. Same with Kimmich, Goretzka, those players. I mean...
Goretzka's put on some size. I saw a photo the other day.
A lot of the Bayern players, they put on a bit of size, like pretty much like big sizes, you know what I mean? But... Look, props to Bayern as well. I think they've got a good nutritionist there, good training, and that's why they're dominant over every single season. So
absolutely. Yeah. Mind you, you've also got to remember, and this is what people don't understand, and some people understand, some people know, some people don't. When you go to training, you're there from like sometimes. I know this for the Premier League. I'm not sure about Spain or Germany, but in the Premier League. You look at clubs like, for example, I watch Ben Foster. So Ben Foster is the Watford keeper, and he's got a
he does vlogs and stuff. It's pretty funny.
He does vlogs, and I love that. Right, I love that. I love how he can just, you know what I mean, go and he can vlog his day and what he does. But what they do is that they'll feed you breakfast, lunch, and dinner at the club when you're training. So they're keeping count of your calories. They're keeping count. They're doing macro counts. They're doing carbs before training and protein after training. Carbs before training, protein after training, to make sure that you're properly fed. And a lot of people don't realize that that's just how it is. Like, that's how it is. And for Bayern,
that's
to
football
be turning
for you
around,
now. That's football for you. Look, it's not even just like, not even in England. I think it's everywhere. Every club's got a nutritionist. Every club's got a doctors. It's very elite now when it comes to training and providing the proper food. I mean, if you saw in the past, like I remember some stories my dad used to tell me back in the days. The players at halftime would be smoking in the dressing rooms. Like, co-managers would be smoking on the bench. I mean, I saw a photo once of Arsene Wenger smoking on the bench.
Yeah.
Maritz Sarri as well. Like,
Sarri loved to have a bit of a.
You could see the difference. You can see, you could see the difference between back then and now. It's really good to see that football is involved in a positive way when it comes to nutrition and when it comes to training and all that. And you can see that football is evolved into a a really elite sport, and very happy for it as well.
Absolutely. I'm glad to see as well that more and more young kids, especially in, again going off topic, but a lot of young kids in Australia are starting to play soccer because it's not it's not Australia's number one sport in the sense of it's not the most watched when it comes to Australia. However, people are understanding that it is very beneficial to fitness. It's very beneficial, like any sport. Any sport you're going to get fit, but I feel like football's a different in a different league, and obviously everyone's going to have their own opinions on that. But I feel like, especially with football, it's really good for hand-eye coordination because you're doing it's what's called a 360 game. So, for example, rugby league is up and down, right? So you run up the field and you run down the field. You run up the field and down the field. Whereas football it's a 360 sport. So you're always moving around. And I mean, don't look at me now, but when I was in college, I was the fittest I ever was. And I moved from rugby league and I started playing soccer at about 14. And I won't change that for anything because it taught me a lot more. The discipline behind it as well is a lot more because it is less of a contact sport than, say, rugby or AFL or something like that. So it is a very disciplinary sport. And it's good to see a lot of young people starting to play, and hopefully we can see this grow even further this year in Australia, especially with the World Cup coming up this year.
Yeah, I think at the same time, I don't look. It's very hard to say that the game here will grow because we've had a lot of how do I say it? Obviously, we have the other codes that are blocking football from going up. Obviously, you've got the NRL and the AFL that are way higher than the A League and football in general here in Australia. But look, I think we need the right people behind the sport here in Australia, the right marketing, the right the right coaches. Not saying that we have bad coaches here, but I think the game needs to grow a lot. I mean, I'll give you an example. I was watching Sydney FC versus Perth Glory yesterday. And it's honestly, like, not just because I'm a Wanderers supporter, like, forget that. Like, out of Wanderers, we're going horrible as well. But in general, like, every time I see a game, like in the A-League, it feels like we're watching a bunch of 5-year-olds play.
Yeah.
Like, they're all cramped up. They're all like the one player would lob it to the other side, lose possession straight away. I mean, it's frustrating for me as a Wanderers supporter not to see success for a long time. But look, I think the game needs a lot more growing, bigger marketing as well, bigger people behind it.
Yeah.
But even when Chelsea came here last time and they interviewed Mourinho and they said, are you impressed with the football here in Australia when it was Chelsea versus Sydney FC? And a lot of the players as well, like they ask the foreign teams when they come here and they're like, what do you think about the football here in Australia? And they get a harsh answer back. They said it needs a lot of work. A lot of work needs to be done in this country. And for some reason after that, they can't take the criticism. Especially the people that analyze the game here, they can't take the criticism. They think the A-League's the peak and that the A-League's top. I can pick out a handful of NPL teams that can take on some A-League teams.
Same.
For example,
you got Sydney Olympic.
I would say Sydney Olympic. My team that I really am impressed over the last couple of seasons. I follow the NPL all the time. Is in New South Wales is Blacktown City.
Blacktown City have been a very good. They actually came and played a pre-season game in Canberra last season. And I was watching some videos because you can obviously look all this stuff up on YouTube. And for anybody that wants to know anything about NPL, all you got to do is just look it up on YouTube. But they've got full games. Bar TV Sports is fantastic. All the with the Canberra NPL, I got to know all the video, like all the cameramen and the commentators here in Canberra are fantastic. And Bar TV Sport is fantastic for NPL. So when the NPL season starts up, I think in March. I believe it's March.
They've already started pre-season. They've already started. Some teams have started pre-season already.
So
yeah.
I support Canberra Olympic here in Canberra, and I'm heavily involved with that. Less on the committee, more on the PR side of things. So I always talk to players, I always talk to volunteers. I always help out on the weekends when I'm there. I haven't missed a game. I haven't missed a home or an away game for Canberra Olympic in 5 years.
Yeah.
And that's even traveling interstate to go play in Wollongong and Sydney and stuff like that. I always go with them. So it's good to support your local teams as well. And it's good because it's more the fact of it gets you involved again. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't involved when I graduated school. And then 2015 came around and I started going to games here and there. And then 2016 hit when Canberra Olympic made it to the semi-finals of the FFA Cup. We went on that massive run and we ended up playing Sydney FC here in Canberra. And from the end of 2015 up until now, like it's just I've been heavily involved with the club. So it's
beautiful.
It's good to be.
I've started
But Blacktown City has been fantastic.
Let me tell you a backstory about Blacktown City. I've been following the NPL since 2009. I've been following the NPL ever since I was young, and I've got to the point where up until 2017, from 2009 till 2017, I was going to every single Sydney Olympic home and away game, whether it's a pre-season. Sometimes I would actually turn up to training sessions as well, just to say just to watch the players and stuff. We brought some good players over the last couple of seasons as well. But it goes to show with the NPL, like they've got a really good youth system. And I want to bring up Blacktown City as well. I think it was in 2015, it was Sydney Olympic versus Blacktown City at Adenza Park. I ended up going to that game. That season, I think from the 13s right up until first grade, they all won their grand finals, Blacktown City.
Wow.
So it was an impressive run. And Blacktown City have always been the heavyweights of the NPL in New South Wales here, always making the finals, But yeah, credit to them as well. And credit to their manager. He's been there for a very long time as well. Good players as well that have come out. For example, Sydney United as well. They've done really well with their youth academy. Obviously, I think it was last year they won the comp. But look, the NPL is an exciting league, and like I said before, like the NPL teams can put up a good fight against the A-League teams, and it's good to see that. And hopefully, next couple of seasons we can see the promotion relegation side. But like I said, there needs to be a lot of marketing, a lot of this been put in by a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the financial stability is key for the NPL clubs as well to stay alive in the top tier. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also want to bring up, so when you look at, and a lot of people have said to me in the past, like when I've come to Sydney, they're like, we didn't know Canberra had an NPL aspect towards it, which is quite upsetting considering that some of the best players have actually come out of Canberra. You got Viduka, you got Rogic, you got all these players that have actually come out of Canberra. And
look where they're playing now. Look where they played, and look where some players are playing now. So
yeah, exactly. So you've got Tom Rogic, who used to play for Tuggeranong United and Canberra Olympic, is now playing at Celtic. You know what I mean in the Scottish Premier League. You've got Viduka, who was an Australian icon. You know what I mean, and still is. You know what I mean, and it's good to see that. I'd love to see. So Canberra's already started that promotion relegation from NPL 1 to NPL 2. So we actually started.
It's been around. Well, was it recent or is it just now? Like
no, just now.
Usually the NPL is like promotion relegation as well.
So the NPL for Canberra started last season. I think I'm going to search it up now, actually, just so I'm not making a fool out of myself. But for Canberra, it started last season. I'm very happy that Canberra Olympic didn't get relegated.
Yeah.
Very happy. We ended up mid-table. In saying that, we actually on paper we had the youngest team in the NPL. We had a lot of 16, 17, 18-year-olds playing first grade, and it was a roller coaster of emotion.
Yeah.
So, like Sydney, we've got one Greek team, we've got one Croatian team.
Oh, we've got a couple of Greek
They beat
teams
us
here.
2-1, and we ended up going into their own backyard. Yeah, I know you got Sydney. You got Sydney Olympic.
We've got,
You've got
Berries, Bankstown Berries.
Are they Greek?
I think they're Greek. The Bankstown Berries. We've got obviously we've got the lower teams like Elwood Wanderers. We've got Belmore United.
Yeah.
Those smaller teams. But when it comes to NPL 1, you've got your Sydney Olympic. So yeah, and that's been around since 1957. So yeah.
Yeah. So with going back to the relegation and promotion, it's good to see that happening because it gives teams an opportunity to have something to fight for, not just the championship every year. Do you know what I mean? So it gives the chance of the bottom teams to actually go and do whatever they can. So this season, there's going to be 2 Croatian teams in the NPL 1, and there's going to be a lot of drama. There's going to be a lot of politics.
Yeah.
And this is going to be probably one of the craziest seasons ever.
I reckon we should do a vlog. A couple of Sydney boys should head down to Canberra for that one. I reckon we should do a day vlog.
So that's a first round gig for first game of the season is the O'Connor Knights versus Canberra Croatia.
I reckon we had. I think the Sydney boys will make an appearance and probably do a show there as well.
It'd be nice because then at the night time it's Canberra Olympic versus Monaro Panthers, and they were picked to win the NPL last year because the coach that I was the team that I was telling you about, that one, the Canberra Olympic team that got it to the semi-finals FFA. Half the players went to Monaro with the coach, and we ended up beating them 4-1 first game.
Beautiful.
So it's going to be
is Monaro Italian or?
Yeah. Monaro's are the Italian. So it's the Greeks versus Italians. So it's always interesting. Everyone likes to do a lot of this, but no one does anything. So it's going to be good if the Sydney boys come because it's a lot of it is a lot of fun. Now, so we've talked about NPL, which I've been waiting for ages. I've been wanting to talk about NPL on this podcast for so long, just because we're an Australian-based podcast, and it's just nice to talk about stuff that's happening in our own backyard.
Beautiful.
Let's talk about the last couple of matches that are happening later tonight, or early tomorrow morning. So you've got Crystal Palace versus Liverpool.
Yep.
You've got Arsenal and Burnley, Leicester and Brighton, and Chelsea and Tottenham.
Which game's the Chelsea Tottenham one? That's on
That's tomorrow morning at 3:30 a.m. But this is this match week. So this is the end this match week.
Yep.
So let's start off with Crystal Palace and Liverpool. Given Liverpool's Crystal Palace, it's Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace. She's my cousin from Melbourne.
From Melbourne, yeah.
From Melbourne, Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace versus Liverpool. After Liverpool's recent, I don't know. After losing,
I'm sorry.
Stop it, we are.
Oh, that was a good one.
Yeah, no, my cousin from Melbourne. After Liverpool's upset loss to draw to 10-man Arsenal, and then coming back and beating them 2-0 last week. How do you think they're gonna go?
I don't know, like it's hard.
This is why we need Yanni here, because Yanni, the biggest Liverpool supporter I've ever met, needs to come, but he's busy at the moment. So
with the Crystal Palace Liverpool game, I'm expecting Liverpool to win, and as I said in the previous the previous podcast as well, and Yanni thought I was taking the piss out of it when I said Liverpool were going to beat Brentford. He thought, I was taking the piss. I was like, no, I'm actually thinking Liverpool's going to win because it's a must-need game. It's a must-win game, of course, and it's a must-win game now for Liverpool as well, especially against Crystal Palace. Look, Crystal Palace are a tricky team, but I think, Liverpool will get that result. And even Tom said it as well. He said Chelsea Spurs draw. I could see that happening as well for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I just saw that as well. I can see that happening. We'll get on to Chelsea Tottenham a bit later, but let's talk about Liverpool's last game they had, which was against Brentford. So they did win 3-0. They seemed to get off to a rocky start. Liverpool and not kind of find their feet, and then they came back and they scored just before the half. They scored in the middle. They scored. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain scored, which was phenomenal to see because I don't know where else he's been. And then our favourite Takumi Minamino scored just to rub it in Yanni's face a little bit more.
Yeah.
But to see 27 shots versus 6 shots for Liverpool, so Liverpool had 27 shots.
Yeah.
Is obviously you can see that there's a big quality difference in the two teams, but I'm glad Brentford definitely didn't give up and gave them a run for their money. So
even the first game as well when they drew 3-3 with them in the beginning of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. I would like to get your prediction on this one on Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace.
Oh my God.
Crystal Palace versus Liverpool. What are you thinking?
I think it's going to be a 3-0 Liverpool win. I think Jota is going to score.
Cool.
And I think, look, I think it's going to be an easy run for Liverpool. I think it's going to be 3-1. 3-0.
3-0. Beautiful. I'm thinking the same. I'm going to go 2-0. I'm going to go 2-0, and I'm assuming Salah will score at some point. Now, Arsenal-Burnley. Arsenal have, I feel like, surprised a lot of people, especially this season, being dubbed last in the first 5 games.
Yeah, that was
something like that. They were last. They were looking at relegation for the first time in the club's history. So they were looking at that. So I'm very happy to see where they are now. They are 7th, but it is a lot better than being last. And especially winning after the last 4 out of the last 5 games, they've won 4. That's big up to Arteta for putting some. Again, goes back to the discipline side of things, and doing what he needs for his team.
Yeah, I think, Arteta's done a good job, and I think a lot of the Arsenal fans, I think Mick will back me up on this one. A lot of the Arsenal fans have doubted Arteta and the way he structures his team, and I thought they were obviously we heard a lot of Arteta out beginning of the season and even last season as well. But look, I think he's done really well with Arsenal. They're picking their good players as well. Obviously, Aubameyang hasn't started, and they're going pretty well. So, look, I wouldn't want to say a lot of work needs to be done with Arsenal. I think a few more signings can get them there. I think they've got good quality youth players as well that are doing well. But look, it's gonna be an interesting game as well. I think Arsenal will clinch that win.
I think Arsenal will clinch that win as well. I'm not sure what the scoreline may be. I'm probably going to say again 2-0 Arsenal. Hopefully with Saka scoring, which, by the way, he has been an absolute force these last couple of games.
Yeah.
For Arsenal, he's been the main man to definitely in terms of assisting and trying to push the ball more forward. instead of keeping it in the middle, which is fantastic. Haven't heard much on Burnley. Again, that just goes to the fact that Burnley is a club that likes to kind of keep quiet. And no one really knows what's going on behind closed doors. I mean, if you look something up, it's stuff that's from the start of the year. So, Burnley, again, they're last at the moment, which is, look, it's bound to happen. Someone's got to be last, especially when you've got above you've got Watford and Newcastle. So, it'll be interesting to see how Arsenal cope with that game. And then the next game we've got is the Leicester-Brighton game.
Yeah.
What's your opinions on that game? How do you think that's going to pan out?
I think well, look, coming off Brighton Chelsea, that draw, I think Brighton going to have a bit of a kick up the butt, after that result against Chelsea. But look, I think Leicester's gonna win that game. It'll be an interesting game. I really want to see how Brighton performs in that game. Like I said before, they drew against Chelsea, so you never know. I'm very 50-50 with that. But then at the same time, it's Leicester City. They don't quit until they finish the team off.
Well, they don't quit until that final whistle blows.
Exactly. So, and you saw it with the Spurs game as well, though they lost the game. But it just goes to show who Leicester City are and what they've done ever since they won that Premier League back in 2015.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I urge everybody to go watch that Chelsea-Brighton game, because that Chelsea-Brighton game was fantastic to watch. I was very surprised, as you would be if you see someone that's 12th beat someone who's second, first. No matter where they are, it's a top tier team. So that's what I love about this game, is that it can be full of upsets. I'm going to go a draw on the Leicester City Brighton game. I'm going to go 2-2 draw, and see what comes from there. What's your predictions?
I'm gonna go 2-1 to Leicester.
Yep.
Purely because, like I said before, Brighton had a good game against Chelsea, although Chelsea had players out. But I think Brighton will put up a good fight against Leicester.
Then the final game will be Chelsea-Tottenham. So this is Chelsea coming off a draw, potentially having a full squad, coming off Tottenham winning in the 97th minute with a full squad. So this game for me is going to be very, very, very entertaining, especially with the characters on the field.
Yeah.
And I would love to, and I wish John was here to talk about it as well, to get his opinion. But unfortunately, me and Val were the only ones who were free tonight. Everyone had prior engagements. But I'd love to get his opinion on how he thinks the season's going at the moment for Chelsea. But good on Conte for taking Tottenham and really, giving him a couple of swift backhands to get him back into contention. I mean, Chelsea's now third, behind Liverpool by a point. So this is really, for both teams, Liverpool and Chelsea, these are defining moments.
Yeah.
Because if Chelsea win and Liverpool draw, then Chelsea's back second. So
I'm swinging more towards Liverpool to obviously come second. I know City will win the league for sure, but I think Liverpool will clinch second place. I think their quality is just too much for Chelsea.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if you look at it now, Liverpool is 12 points behind City with 2 games in hand. So it's still not enough to even with those games in hand, still not enough to actually do anything to do with the ladder. It's only going to affect second and third. You see, so because Chelsea's is 1 point behind, but is on the correct amount of games, like it's really Liverpool's to lose now to come third. And then going even below that, Man United's now fourth on 38 points. So if I can do maths, that means we are 6 points behind Chelsea at the moment. And we've got a game in hand, which means we need to win almost every game to at least come top three. But it's nice to see United in the top four for the first time this season. Oh, no, we've lost Volandi. We've lost Volandis. We've lost Volandis. His internet is stuffing up, which is fine. I will talk to you, lovely people who are watching with us now. If you have any questions while we wait for Volandi, please put them in the chat and I will answer them. Guys, just a quick, while we're waiting for Val to come back, I just want to say on behalf of all of us, we appreciate all the support you guys are showing us by even leaving comments while we're live streaming, liking our posts and whatnot. If you want to go and follow us, our Instagram is at Stoppage Time Podcast AU. I will. We can put our personal links if you like. Mine's at DJ Prodigy. On Instagram. I mean, without sounding too cliche, I mean, we're only doing this because, we love football, and I'm glad to see that there are other people who love to talk about football as much as us. So I just got a message from Volandi, and he said that his internet is stuffing up, which is absolutely fine. Mine was stuffing up the last time we did a podcast together, so I'll let it slide. At least we're even now. But if you guys do have any questions, please don't be afraid to put them in the chat, and I'll answer them while we're waiting for Volandi to come back. But just back on topic of United and what my opinions are, for us to be fourth at the moment is actually quite surprising, considering the rocky start we had at the start of the season. Especially we're getting a new manager in, a new interim manager compared to full-time manager, Ollie out. I mean, we talk in the group chat all the time, me and the Stoppage Time boys, and we talk about what really should have happened. And, by unpopular opinion to a lot of people, I personally think Mourinho should have stayed. He did win us a trophy, even though it was Europa. And Val is back, thank goodness.
I don't even know what happened.
Your internet stuffed out, which is fantastic. But I was talking
to the
lovely viewers. Yeah. I was talking to the lovely viewers for a bit while we were waiting for you. But I was basically just giving them the unpopular opinion of I think Mourinho should have stayed at United. That's where I got up to. But
I could say something about it as well. I think a bit of I spoke to a couple of people as well regarding the Mourinho thing. A lot of people say it was the right time for him to leave, but I think the most important thing that obviously what happened to Mourinho was when he tends to speak a lot. Obviously, he speaks a lot.
Yes,
he's got a big mouth as well. No, he's got a big mouth. Everyone has a right to an opinion, but at the same time, this is football now, and you don't have a right to your opinion. You have to be very careful what you say. You have to be very careful what you say in the media as well.
Which is why I don't think any of the Stoppage Time members will be great managers in the EPL.
No, but I think I think Mourinho, given one more season, I reckon he could have done something. If he had players on board, if he made some quality signings as well, he won us trophies. So he won us trophies.
I literally just said that. I said he won us a trophy.
But that's something that we need to take into consideration. That Mourinho did good for United. A lot of people say he left at the right time, and he's not a manager that stays longer than 3 years. Well, I think he could have stayed longer because he had the setup that he wanted, but other people weren't letting him do his job. There was a lot of
Yeah,
critics. There was a lot of media that plays a part to it as well. But yeah, look, I think it just goes to show that anything's possible in football. But look, it's Mourinho left. He got the sack, but he can't do much about it now. I think we just move forward and focus on now rather than
absolutely.
the
And you
past.
know what? At the moment, we're doing really. I feel like we're doing really well. I'm really happy with Ralph. And what he's implementing. He obviously saw that he did the 4-2-2-2 for a couple of games, saw it wasn't working. Guess what? Went to 4-3-3. Now look at us.
Yeah.
Now we're actually playing football like a proper team, and he's using players like Alanga and stuff like that to try and change the game a bit, because no one's played against, like, people have played against Alanga, but no one knows what he's about. Does that make sense? So it's a lot harder for people to try and mark him and whatnot. The football capital said got Pogba and Ibra and come sixth, paid 50 mil for Fred. Yeah, but we didn't sign.
No, they're right. They're right. He paid 50 mil for Fred, and we came sixth, but he won us trophies as well. I mean, a lot of people didn't criticize Ollie for 3 years. Well, most of the supporters did, but then just because we have to back our legend, Mourinho took more of criticism than Ollie did.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think it's just, look, everyone does mistakes. Mourinho made mistakes as well, but he got us a couple of trophies. He got us there,
absolutely. And at the end of the day,
that's what we needed as well.
No, absolutely. And at the end of the day, that's what you need. You need silverware. Pete Chronopoulos, love the show, boys. Keep up the good work. Up Liverpool. What a lad. What a
Thanks,
lad.
Get Ollie back at the wheel.
Back at the wheel. Yeah, Gala, sure, no worries. I swear, we've said this in the private group chat a lot of times. We actually added Ollie to our group chat to see if he would reply. And Valandi was, let's just say, the Norwegian didn't know whether it was Arthur or Martha if he was reading those messages, because Valandi was absolutely giving it to this poor bloke.
It was funny because when we were talking on the group chat, and then I looked at the members, I clicked on it, and then it said Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Like, I know it's not his actual account, but I clicked on it, and then I tagged him in the comment, like in our page, in our group chat, and I was like, "Why are you still here?" I actually forgot to remove.
After he left, after he got sacked, I
added him, and I was abusing the hell out of him, like, not abusing him, like, but just like giving it to him. And then after a couple of weeks, like when he got like sacked or whatever, and I just commented, I was like, "Why are you still here?" It was the funniest thing, and I just forgot to remove him, and then I removed him after that. But it was pretty funny.
The football capital said you got Mkhitaryan, then swapped him for Sanchez. Look, no manager is perfect. I mean, like we say, each player, you don't know what they're going to do until they rock up. And, I wish we didn't swap Mkhitaryan for Sanchez. That's my opinion. I really think we shouldn't have. But at the time, that's what we needed. And, unfortunately, look at Sanchez now. I think he's at Inter, and he seems to be doing pretty well there. So good on him. But like we say, it's like the whole Kevin De Bruyne, Mo Salah at Chelsea, and they weren't doing well, and now De Bruyne is at Man City, and he'll be dubbed a Man City legend as well. And Mo Salah's at Liverpool, and he'll be dubbed a Liverpool legend as well. So, each player reacts to a different team differently. So we are at the hour mark. So is there anything on your mind, Val, that you would like to talk about that has really been grinding your gears?
Oh, where do I start? I
was about to say, mate, this is a PG. When we're online, it's a PG show.
Yeah,
All
no,
right,
no. Look, I think
because
it's
when we're in the studio, we can edit it.
no. I think with the whole like United thing right now, I think I'm very happy with what's happening. Obviously, the players' attitudes are slightly changing. You can see. Um, and look, I'm pleased so far with what Ranick's trying to implement. Obviously, a lot of work needs to be done as well. The players need to be disciplined.
Mm.
I see a lot of good things happening with United in the next couple of months. But yeah, look, it's going to be an interesting Premier League season. We're
It
not done
is.
yet. We got until May, so look, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to deadline day as well. What kind of signings teams are going to make? What kind of signings Newcastle's going to make as well? I mean, you got Newcastle in the window now to buy some players. Obviously, they bought Trippier and one more player, but like I think it's going to be an interesting one, and we'll see how it goes. A lot of rumors going around that United's going to buy a couple of players, but that's not 100%. So like I said, we'll see what happens.
I mean, going into deadline day, I mean, is there anyone you think that United might be looking at, or anyone that you hope gets replaced? Because we all know what the German managers are like with concentration. So I mean, like they want obviously someone to have a little bit of concentration and get them in the camp and stuff like that and do what they need to do. But is there is there anyone that you see being replaced?
Look, obviously, I think when Randy came out and he said Maguire's not good enough, Wan-Bissaka's not good enough, he named a couple of players that are not good enough to be in the starting 11. And I think those sort of players that I would call them deadbeats that need to go. Maguire definitely needs to go. I think he's just taking a paycheck and he's not performing. He did perform well against West Ham, and he did perform. Well, I wouldn't say against Brentford. He cost us a goal against Brentford, but it's just like I said before. I said it to George in the group chat as well. I'm like, you see when the players are under criticism, um, they perform, and then they make these stupid posts saying that we're a strong team, we're all in this together, blah blah blah, and then they start making these stupid poses in training session in the United. I don't know who's the admin of the United page, but
I'm
honestly,
sorry, but I saw this meme.
it's the cringiest thing I've seen. Like the
I
players
saw
going
this.
like that,
I
and
saw this meme, right, and it was the winning team. So what happens is that they get the guys, and they play a match, and whoever wins, they post a photo, right?
yeah,
And it always seems that Donny van der Beek is always on
holding
the
a ball.
winning team, but he's holding the ball, and someone wrote, even in the games, even in training, Donny
He's a
van der
ball
Beek
boy.
is the ball boy. And I was crying with laughter, and I was crying with being upset, because give
Yeah,
Donny
like
a
he's off.
chance.
Yeah, look, that kid's had a lot. That kid's had a harsh one here at United. But like I said, it all started from when Ollie dropped his confidence completely. I blame entirely the previous
Stuff.
coaching staff for Donny's lack of games and confidence as well. Like his confidence has dropped. I mean, like if you see when he was at Ajax, he was on the short list for the Ballon d'Or. When he was a young Ballon d'Or, he was on the short list. He was a gun at Ajax. Like I said, if you're gonna buy a player, play him. This kid has
Yeah,
had how many appearances?
I
Apparently,
think
he was his
total.
50th. I think he's had his 50th appearance or something like that. And then they posted, I'm like, 50 appearances. If you only had like 10, 15-minute games an appearance. Like it's shocking
Yeah,
to see that. You know what I mean? It's very sad to see that, especially with a young talent like Donny. Look, if Ranić doesn't want him as well, then I reckon just put him on the list. I mean, I think Donny really he handed his transfer request. He wanted to leave when Ollie was there, and Ollie
yeah,
was
he
like, no,
denied
I'll
it.
play you, I'll play you, I'll play you. But he pretty much lied to Donny then and there. But look, if Donny has the opportunity, he'll get he'll hand in another transfer request and say like I really want to leave. I'm not getting game time here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Football Capital says Harry Maguire won't be sold. I won't be surprised, but this is what I said. I said it before to a couple of boys that I think Harry Maguire will turn into a Phil Jones.
I feel like that's going to happen as well. He won't. He'll be on the. He'll be at the club, but he won't play for 3 years.
Yeah, Yeah, I don't think. I
and
don't think now. I think
he'll be a
Ranić.
last resort.
Yeah, I think Ranić is starting to change United's obviously defense and all that. Varane's had a really good couple of games as well. But I think I don't think Maguire's going to be there for too long. He's saying he won't be sold, but I doubt it. He won't be sold as well. But I think he'll be left on the bench. That's my opinion about it.
To be honest, I think he might even be left on the bench, but maybe some, depending on who it is, might be even put in the reserves. You never know. You know what I mean? This is the thing. We don't know what the managers are thinking. We don't know what the club's thinking. I'd really like to just one dad love to go and talk to them and be like, so what are your thoughts? You know what I mean? What's going on? Because it'd be nice to understand like why they are doing certain things.
Yeah, even Football Capital says, look, the Ajax players have been made champion. They had the Champions League semi for a good time. Are you there? I think it was cut off.
Anyway. Yeah. So your internet was stuffing up again. But yeah.
Anyway,
so
Ajax
players, look at the Ajax players. Well. Yeah. From the team that made Champions League semi-final, they all left and all having the all the time. Yeah. And that's the thing.
Hakim Ziyech in Chelsea. You got De Ligt I think De Ligt started for Juventus. I'm not too sure. But look at those players. They've come from the Ajax team and look at them now. And look where Donny has ended up. And it's really sad to say that. And I'm really scared to see that new players coming in for United now and being left on the bench. Because you never know what's... United's like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially with the treatment of Donny. I mean, like I said before, if you're going to buy a player, then use him. Donny's a talented player. And every time Donny comes on, he performs. I mean, when Carrick... I think Carrick played him.
He did.
I can't remember one game, and he scored a goal. So, it's sad to see what's happening to Donny. I'm very, very sad for him, but hopefully he can get some game time and possibly hand in a transfer request. He deserves to be in the starting 11.
Absolutely. I feel like he's he's still young as well, and he's still got so many years ahead of him in football. And whoever they pick as the new manager hopefully has half a brain and actually plays him. And not I don't expect him to start. Just bring him on longer than 5 or 10 minutes. Do you know what I mean? Bring him on at halftime or bring him on in the 60th minute. Actually give him some game time to prove to people that he can, he can perform. So then, he can start eventually. Do you know what I mean? Like it's heartbreaking to see, but we've still got until May, so we still have a few months to go to hopefully see what happens. Now, Valandi, who do you think? Let's quickly talk because we've got about 15 minutes left. I would like to talk about the and we've lost him. Great, we've lost him again. Fantastic. Football Capital. Maguire was in the team of the tournament for the Euros, and we needed him for the Europa final.
Yeah,
I think there's a player there, but definitely needs to see the bench for now. Yeah, absolutely. It's if you just read the Football Capital's quote. There we go. Maguire was in the team for the tournament for the Euros, but we needed him for the Europa final. I think there's a player there, but definitely needs to see the bench for now. Absolutely. There's no two ways about it. Like Maguire needs to see the bench. He needs to come to the realization that he wasn't performing and that there are consequences to that. Even though you've got the captain's armband, that armband could be removed.
Yeah.
Now, before it cut out again, I was going to say, Valenti, I'd like you to give me your short list of potential Man United managers.
I'll give you one. I think United are heading to Ten Hag, whatever he's the Ajax manager. I think he's a quality manager as well. I think he'll be the next United manager. But look, there's there was talks with Zidane. There was a Conte thing, but I think we're aiming towards Ten Hag.
I hope we aim towards Ten Hag, because then that means Donny will be getting some playing time, which would be fantastic. There was also talks about